Hello, welcome back. Thanks for staying with us for our live coverage from AWS reInvent 2019 here in Las Vegas. I'm Gabe Hollenby, Tech Evangelist with AWS, and I'm joined by my co-host AM and a very special guest from Intel. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. AM?
I'm AM Grabelny. I'm a Senior Partner Solutions Architect, so I work in the Partner Network, which Intel is a very important partner, I'd say, for AWS.
Well, we've been working together for 13 years now, I think.
Yes, not us specifically.
Not us, no, that's true. We just met. That's okay, because I feel like we're close.
I feel like we've known each other.
There's a connection.
There's totally a connection.
Easily, easily.
We all have Intels.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. Yeah. So my name's Alexis Crowell. I run AI product marketing inside of Intel.
That sounds like a really fun job.
It is. It's a blast. Because there's very few areas in any big company where you get to see everything, right? But Intel's approach is AI is going to be everywhere, so we need to infuse it into everything. So I get to work across the company. It's awesome.
Let's tie this into AWS and go from there. So Intel's in everything. Intel does a lot of things.
Yeah.
We have two really cool products on the table in front of us. Unfortunately, there's a third one that we both wanted.
I know.
We'll talk about that one after, but let's talk about these first.
Sure.
What do we have in front of us?
So this is Deep Lens, which is the very first developer kit that we built together.
Yes.
So it's built on an Intel Atom processor, it's built with some of the software, but more importantly, it's all about teaching developers ML skills, right? Because our companies both believe that ML is the way of the future. But it's hard, and you got to start somewhere.
It's very hard.
It is.
It feels more unapproachable than it is, and that's what the things like the Deep Lens and the Deep Racer, et cetera, make you realize.
Yeah, exactly. So this is all about computer vision.
Yeah.
Makes it super simple to use SageMaker and understand exactly how to build CV algorithms. This one's super fun. So this is Deep Racer.
Yep.
Have you guys played with this?
Yes.
I've never gotten to.
Oh,
these things, I was telling you earlier, these are coveted inside
Well, this
of
one
AWS.
especially, so this is the new one. We can geek out about this for a minute. So for those of you who don't know what Deep Racer is, it's our 1/8 scale, 1/18th scale?
1/18.
1/18th, not 1/8 scale autonomous race car. And we had these, we announced these at reInvent last year.
We did.
And this is the V2, this is the Deep Racer Evo. This has on top a new type of sensor. What's that one there? Looks interesting.
So admittedly, I am not the
It's a LiDAR.
Yeah, it's LiDAR, but it's also combined with, now you've got
stereo
two cameras. You've got multi-user, multi-agent players now.
That's right.
So now
We're going to have two cars on the track at the same time.
Exactly. And it's all reinforcement learning based, which is really cool because that's an opportunity for developers and companies to learn a new system in ML.
Yeah. Maybe let's talk about the difference in like, if I want to use a deep lens for something, what type of machine learning does that have versus reinforcement learning? So deep lens, computer vision, this is going to use a supervised learning training models, right? With deep learning, typically.
Exactly.
That's why we call it a deep lens.
Yeah.
And you know, for people who want to get started with that, training your own custom image classifier is actually not hard to do. I thought it was. I don't have a PhD in math or anything like that. My degree's in English, and I was able to read the SageMaker docs and learn how to upload my own pictures. In my case, I actually took birds and made an image classifier that recognized different species of sparrows. And you can take that model, and if you have a deep lens, you can download it, stick it right on the deep lens, and then using its integrated camera, it can capture the frames from its video feed, run it through that model, and then you could program it to. I mean, it's got audio out, it's got network. It could send an SNS message when if your favorite bird is at the bird feeder, for example, or whatever. So that's supervised learning, classic deep learning with SageMaker for computer vision.
I got to ask you first, Gabe.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I got to brag on you, right?
Okay.
You and I have similar backgrounds. We're both like
generic app dev dude.
Right, exactly. Like front end, back end, full stack,
full
type
stack,
dev,
but not hardcore.
Building for the web.
That's
type
right.
Stuff, right?
Yes.
So I look up to you a lot because
I'm a little taller.
You are taller than me. That's true. Actually, that's the only reason. Never mind. I'm just kidding.
We're done. We'll stop.
No, because this stuff seems so unapproachable to me, but I know for a fact the past year and a half, 2 years, you've learned so much about machine learning. I think these devices have played into that too.
It's true. I mean, I could say it would be a true statement. Everything I know about ML, I've learned through the likes of SageMaker and the free training that AWS makes available.
Right.
And it really is. It's so much more approachable than you think. That's really the message I want you to take away, chat, for anyone who's watching who thinks I couldn't do that. You totally can.
Exactly.
But let's talk about reinforcement learning.
Before we moved on, I didn't just want to compliment you, surprisingly.
That's all I wanted.
I know that's all you wanted. What I wanted to ask, and this is so important for me personally when I'm learning something new, right? You mentioned this bird watcher
Yeah.
use case, right?
Sure.
I have a deep lens,
Yep.
and it's sitting in a closet. Tell me, what should I build? What are some other things that I can build, right, that will get that deep lens off of my shelf? Because that's my problem.
You have
I
pets?
need a use case. I have 2 cats.
Yeah.
They're
Do they
near
ever
and dear-
bring? Do you have a cat door?
No cat door. They don't
Okay.
go outside.
So you could get a cat door.
Okay.
Okay.
And then,
Create a use
well, I'm
case.
telling you, this is a famous use case actually that an engineer built and wrote a blog post about. If I'm remembering it right, he made a cat door with a computer vision camera. I think it was a deep lens, but I'm not 100% sure on that detail. But it could have been if it wasn't.
Okay.
That would not open the cat door if the cat had brought like a mouse in its mouth.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, total object detection.
Yes.
How about
Yeah.
a cat bowl, if it's empty, fill it up?
You could make something that would
could
move a
absolutely
laser
do
pointer
that.
to keep your cats moving around.
How about all cat use cases?
Yeah.
Now you got me.
Deep lens, it's for
We go from
cats.
classifying cats to now helping them
I'm-
live better lives.
You know what else cats love? Race cars. And
Okay,
remote
tell me
control
about
about
cars.
chasing things,
Right, exactly.
right? Exactly. Yeah, so what's really cool about this is reinforcement learning, right? So basically think about RL as like how a little kid learns how to walk, right?
Like my 2-year-old girl.
My 2.5, exactly. Yeah. So, she watches all of us.
Yes.
They try and understand how to move their feet. They fall over. My son does that all the time.
You get your hands by the corners.
Exactly. Put gates everywhere. But you have to remember,
Yeah.
right? And that's really what reinforcement learning is all about. It's about trying things, failing, realizing that's not the right way to go, so trying it again a different way. That's what this system is all designed to do, which works really well if you've got something where maybe you can't do supervised learning. You don't have an image set of 10,000 images that are already labeled, already classified. You have to start from scratch.
Which in this case would be, if we did have it to teach a car, it would be something like, here's a shot of this turn coming up, this is the steering input, and this is the acceleration input
Exactly.
you want right at this moment in the track.
Right.
But we don't have that.
No,
So-
and it's not realistic, right?
No.
You can't go map everything within the universe.
No.
And AI's got such capabilities that using combinations of machine learning with even other techniques
Yep.
allow you to be more powerful within your own company or
Yeah.
within your own solution.
So how does this learn how to drive with reinforcement learning then?
So this is based off of all the different sensors input. You can basically build tracks, right? And you can try and drive on that track. And it learns as it's going, and it understands what the lines are, what the obstacles might be. There's been some really cool developer challenges that you guys have done with our partnership where you can basically fly something in across the driving track, and it has to learn and it has to stop or it can't.
Or avoid it.
Or avoid it.
Yeah.
Or it crashes and
Yeah.
you lose. So there's lots of really cool ways to go do this. We've even seen some companies actually build full internal competitions, right?
Yep,
Where they're
yep.
training all of their
Yeah, they're
employees.
leagues,
And
right?
leagues,
Yeah,
yeah,
leagues.
exactly. Full leagues inside of companies so that they can go upskill all of the developers that work for them, which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, so you were saying we come from a silver background. I think if I'm going to make a blanket statement about a lot of nerds like us is we're also a little bit competitive when it comes to learning.
A little bit.
And if you can make
Yep.
something into a fun contest that involves coding and
Right.
like just performance, right? We measure the performance of our code. It's also fun to say, okay, I'm going to build a model to try and beat you on the track. That can be a nice motivating factor to get you to dive in and learn a bit more.
Exactly.
And so the way this works, I want to give a clarifying point here just to elaborate on what you said. It's not me driving the remote control car around with a controller. Instead, you have a virtual environment. So the great thing about it doesn't have to be a virtual environment for reinforcement learning, but it's often easier because you can train in different scenarios that you don't have to set up in the physical world. And so we have a virtual racetrack in the cloud, and what you do is you have a simulated version of this deep racer car, and you have what we call a reward function, which is basically just a function that takes in all the inputs from all the sensors and decides, what do I do at this moment? Do I accelerate? Do I turn? Which direction do I turn? Or do I decelerate? And it's going to try, and at the beginning, it's going to decide, I'm gonna start with random rules. I don't know what I'm doing, and it just drives around, and you measure its time, and after a minute, you say how far away did you go from the starting point. That's your reward value. You went far, good. You get a cookie. You didn't go far, you get only a crumb, right?
Yeah.
You went around the lap and stayed within the lines the whole time. You get 5 cookies. Keep doing that,
Yep.
and so over many tries and tweaks and tries and tweaks, it figures out
Right.
what the relevant signals are in the environment. We're not teaching it go fast here, go slow here. We're not even teaching it lines on a track or something you need to pay attention to. All we're teaching it is, here's your environment input, you decide what to do, and then we'll tell you how good you did.
Yep, positive outcome or not.
Mutate yourself and try again.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Little kid learning to walk, right? Did I fall over or did I not?
Yes.
Yeah.
Except we don't have to put our hands around the corners and to keep Deep Racer from bashing its LiDAR head in.
Yeah, so you made a good point though too, right? So this is all connected back into the cloud, and it's all running on C5 instances, which is really cool because that's all Intel based, and we've actually added AI instructions into those systems
Tell me more about
SageMaker can take advantage of and pull directly into giving a better developer experience. So for example, with this one, you can connect into AVX 512, which is an instruction that really helps the inference and actually the solution-based decision making. And what we've seen is that through the process of Deep Racer over the last 2 years, moving from C4 to C5 has actually given developers better cost per performance. So we're seeing really good opportunities for developers to continue to learn, but helping them save money at the same time.
That's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really awesome.
Maybe we should also talk about the third thing we don't have on the table that we both wish we did have.
We do.
Do you think anybody's done a Death Star trench run for the Deep Racer yet?
I feel like maybe that's next year's AWS story conversation. We should go do that.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
you got to get the missile right in the exhaust port at the end, though.
Yeah,
exactly.
You got to get the
right, you only have the 3 foot radius. Yeah.
We're gonna have to get buy-in from Disney. That's gonna be.
They're super easy.
Somebody's
to work with.
watching from Disney. Give us the buy-in.
Yes.
We'll negotiate.
So, speaking of Disney and all the awesome songs that they have in all their movies, the third thing, tying it back to machine learning, we have announced a new product called the Deep Composer, and that also has Intel inside, right?
It does in the cloud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little keyboard which connects to a USB. And it's all designed around GANs, right? So generative.
Well, what's a GAN? Yeah, let's talk about that for
generative adversarial networks.
Yep.
And basically, what that is it's allowing creativity and creation through AI, right? So in this case, it's all music based. You can either start with a tune that is available via the cloud, or you can use the keyboard and kind of compose your own few notes. And then it will create an entire composer for you. It can create brand new in the genre that you're interested in, styles you like, and it creates a complete output. So it's an interesting solution because GANs are kind of the new conversation around creating new artwork. You can do it for paintings, you can do it for photography.
I've seen a demo where somebody took basically like a crayon style drawing, right? And you would just draw a little blue and you'd say, that's water. And you would draw a little brown and a little green and say, that's a tree.
Yep.
And then you just say, make me a photorealistic looking image from this. And the computer's like, right, okay. Here, how about this? And then you're like, no, I want a little more water here. And you just draw a little more blue and it makes another photorealistic image. That's with the GAN also.
Yep.
So it's the same thing. I'm going to play some notes and then say, make me a composition. And then maybe I'll tweak it a little bit and say, try again.
I want to be the next Beethoven. Help me.
Okay, now, for that, effectively, I guess it's like a style transfer from my input into a fully generated song. From my understanding is there's a lot of pre-made different genres that Deep Composer can transform into songs for me already.
Yep.
But there's also a way to upload my own genre inputs or something?
That's my understanding as well. Okay. This is all brand new tech. I haven't even gotten to play with it, which is so sad.
Yep.
I was hoping I'd be able to and actually share it with everybody. But that's the idea, is to be able to teach people how to make GANs way less confusing, lower the barriers to entry, make it a little bit more interesting for people to start playing with.
I think it'll work because, again, before the Deep Lens, I had no experience at all with deep learning. Before the Deep Racer, I had no experience with reinforcement learning. So, I mean, this strategy is working really well. I'd known about GANs for a while, and again, always felt like, oh, that's too esoteric for me. That, I don't know, it just sounds complicated. If one network is hard, certainly two networks working together to build something must be even more complex.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to getting hands-on with it and really demystifying it.
And the possibilities with GANs are really interesting from a productivity, right? Like if I'm an architect and I can start a design, I have kind of an idea, but you want to get to that end result much, much faster. That's where GANs really can come in. So I think it'll be really cool to see what people do with Deep Composer and see where people then take it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think we're going next? I mean, as like a pundit or someone with an opinion about the space, you've been in the AI and product space for a while.
I have been.
Where are we going, or what do you see on the horizon? What's exciting you every day at work?
So I come to work every day super excited because I think we've got an opportunity with ML that we've never seen before, right? We've got this amazing, not only to do really cool developer products and make everybody's lives easier, but from a societal perspective, we can truly help people live a better life. So one of the use cases actually on Deep Lens that I got excited about was someone taught it sign language. And then they were able to have a conversation with a deaf person who was signing to the camera, it would translate, and then it could translate back. Right, so it's this really interesting, like, human story that brings AI and ML into a really accessible technology. And to me, that's what's really cool, right? We don't have to necessarily go learn it as just normal human beings. It integrates into our lives.
That's right.
That, to me, is what's super exciting.
That's ultimately what matters. No matter as much as we geek out about any of this stuff and all the neat gee whiz things we can do.
Right.
That's not why why we're making any of this, right? We're making this because we want to make the world a better place.
Yep.
And the technology is how we do that. So.
Exactly. Well, and it's been really fun to partner with AWS in that because we both are very like-minded in that space, right?
Yeah.
We're both trying to make it easier for developers as a starting point because developers are kind of that cusp of innovation.
Yes.
Right? They have the opportunity to create brand new innovations, come up with new and amazing ideas to, pull kids back home that have been kidnapped, to solve for Red Cross and hunger issues and flooding issues in California or fire issues and just all of this stuff that we could do as humans if we had infinite time and infinite resources.
Right.
But we don't, right? We live in a scarcity enviorment.
But
where
the
ML
cloud
can
gives
fix
us
it.
virtually infinite resources
there you
for
go.
some
That's
things.
true. That's true. I mean human resources. Yes, but you're right. From
It's
a
hard
human
to
resource
auto-scale people.
It is.
So far it is.
That's the deepest thing I've ever said.
We look at ML as the scaling of knowledge.
Yeah,
that's
the answer.
Cool from our
ML is how we
perspective, right?
auto-scale people.
Exactly. Yeah, and the knowledge base, and you bring, again, computer vision with healthcare. We talked about healthcare this morning in the keynote. There's a lot of really interesting things you can do from a radiology perspective. There is a huge shortage of radiologists in the US right now.
Okay.
Right? But if you bring computer vision in and you help them diagnose,
even if it doesn't say, this is
is
definitely the problem, it says, look here, doc, did you see this part?
Exactly. It's not doing the diagnosis, it's helping the radiologist or the doctor actually figure out what's going on.
Yep.
Or flag something that maybe, in your desire to see 1,000 patients in a short amount of time.
Unfortunately, this is so commonplace.
We actually catch issues that are going on.
Yeah.
And that's where that scaling of knowledge, I think, is really, really powerful.
We could also say, taking the image classifier example, that is something that doesn't need to be real time because you can get your radiology snapshot, wait a day, get the oncologist to look at it. But with putting processors on things, putting ML at the edge, then you start getting to those even health cases where, the machine's beeping and analyzing something in real time, make a split-second decision to help me alert a doctor.
Yep.
So
I think that's important, right? The fact that you're not removing the human from the situation.
No,
right?
you're
That was
not.
one of the things I joked with Gabe. I'm a songwriter. I've played in bands. I was like, I'm out of a job now, But no, that's not true.
No, it's not.
It exists here to, make my life easier.
You can be a writing partner.
Yeah,
I like that melody. Let's riff on that a little bit, right? It's just like when you write with humans, just another thing suggesting, what if we did this?
Right.
Well, and the intersection of scarcity with technology, that's where opportunities like this really flourish, right? So in the radiologist example, or in the just the idea generation, that's where a lot of bands I've learned get stuck.
Yes.
Right? How do I come up with something new?
Yes.
If this helps get them over that hurdle, fantastic.
Right. Absolutely.
It's not going to be the next Queen, but it's okay. It'll get a starting point.
It's going to be its own thing.
Exactly.
We will have an ML pop star at some point.
I think that's probably true. They're already starting to do TV shows all based on GANs. And there's a show on Sunday night. I saw it. It was all about using GANs to create paintings. It was interesting. Yeah. So they're starting to talk about it.
Banksy, you're next. Look out. Okay, that's probably a good place to wrap up. We're running out of time. Thank you so much for joining us as I knock the fairing off of the table here. Thanks for joining us. It was really fun.
It was nice to talk to you guys.
Thank you all for being here. Stay tuned for more live coverage from reInvent shortly.